So the plan was to make these weekend trips. We started out with $15,000. We practiced, and as soon as, well, like, we knew it was going to be profitable because we were practicing and we were getting it right. But then we saw that it was profitable when the money just came rolling in.
And it's like the cool thing to do. And yeah, it starts off as the cool thing to do until you can't stop.
I say 75% of people under 15 gamble on something. It's rampant. I don't know how to explain it. It's just epidemic.
Once started, the rush of gambling becomes a powerful incentive to continue. Some people can gamble and walk away, but for others, it becomes a way of life.
Going forward a couple years towards probably saying around 23, things started to get like pretty bad. I would lie to everybody about where I was going. I'd be calling my mom and telling her that I got mugged at the bar just after I got my paycheck, after I had lost all the money. I would be lying to my brother. Anybody that I knew that I could manipulate to get money from, I manipulated to get money from.
On our way home, I had all my money, and my boyfriend says, well, half is mine. I'm like, no, half's not mine. I said, and I turned to him, I said, here's $1,000, call us even, and don't call me again.
It's not only the gambler who is affected by gambling. Often their gambling starts to affect the very people who are closest to them.
I believe that I probably got a credit card statement and the charges were unfamiliar to me, so I asked him what they were, and he told me that he had been playing online poker. I wouldn't have minded if it had been a couple of times or maybe a couple of $100, but when it started to get in the thousands of dollars, I realized that there was more than a little problem going on here. I
knew there was lack of consequence in my life. I knew I was always getting bailed out. I know I'll continue to get bailed out. And I had parents who I could manipulate, and I knew that somehow the money would always come.
He probably comes to me when the bookie pressures him to give him money, and he doesn't have the money to pay up. He tells me that he owes the bookie a substantial amount of money every now and then, and I bail him out.
But there was no consequence. You know, it's only money. As long as you're okay, as long as people aren't going to come and break your legs, sure, we'll help you. That's what I was brought up with. Did they know how much damage they were doing to me? No, they thought they were helping. And I let them. And I would have gambled regardless until some serious consequence happened.
All these kids feel like they're cool because their parents have money, and they're like, you know what, I'm going to go gamble with my parents' money. You know what, I don't have a problem. You know what, parents are so clueless. Kids will be like, yeah, we're just going to see a movie, $10, $20, and kids will like come home, $100 short. Oh, Mom, Dad, like I need some more money. Oh yeah, here you go.
If you think it's hard not to gamble, you are not alone. The gambling industry in Canada spends hundreds of millions of dollars every year in advertising, trying to get you to gamble. Whether they advertise gambling for entertainment, monetary gain, stress relief, or fun, the gambling industry has done everything it can to make gambling an everyday part of your life.
The industry has done a remarkable job in turning gambling into gaming. They've gone from the sinister, negative aspects of trying to win lots and lots of money to make it gaming, which is a form of entertainment.
Now that I think about it, it all started for me before the poker clubs. I'd say when I was probably finishing up high school, I got involved with the party poker and everything, and that's when it was really big and just starting to come out as far as I knew. And it's really easy to sit at home and play poker and not let anybody know what's going on in your life.
Youth don't actually associate any of the behaviors that you and I as adults might associate as being considered gambling. They don't typically see that as gambling. They don't see online gambling as gambling. They see it as a video game.
As far as technology goes, youth really do know more about technology than adults do nowadays, and they seem to use it more in different facets of life. I mean, they're doing homework on the internet, they're doing research on the internet, they're socializing on the internet, and now they're gambling on the internet. So it's definitely, I feel that the popularity of the internet or technology in general nowadays is sort of the gateway. It's assisting youth in gambling.
Many of the gambling type games simulate video games. And the difference between a video game and a gambling activity on the internet is actually becoming more and more blurred. Although a video game looks random, there are certain underlying heuristics, certain underlying rules. The more you play, the better you get. And what they then do is they transfer those perceptions onto a gambling type activity on the internet.
A lot of it is just, feeling like you're invincible, when you win lots of money, you it can really swell your head. And I think, having movie stars and people that you see that are larger in life to begin with doing it, you figure, well, that could be you, right?
So the term that we would use when we're talking about a lot of times why youth engage in behaviors that seem risky to adults is the concept of invincibility, right? So that youth believe that they won't be affected by something that they may see affecting their friends, that they may see affecting other kids. But again, as I pointed out earlier, youth tend to look at themselves as unique individuals. And so there may be friends who are pregnant, there may be friends who are doing drugs, there may be friends who are addicted to gambling, but that won't happen to them.
These were the problem gamblers to me. They were older, they were lowlives, so to speak. To me, I was young and having fun, and it's probably a phase and might go away. It probably will go away. It's just what I'm doing right now.
And you're like this cool guy because everybody's like, oh, he's a gambler and he's young, and at high school everybody's like, oh, he's not going to school, he's going to track to gamble and make money. And I guess I felt like a sense of being cool by gambling for some reason.
There's a coolness attached to gambling, I think, now, more so than ever. So maybe that's what needs to change, right? Maybe, I don't know how you not make it cool anymore. Maybe you just don't sell it. But it's hard not to do that when there's a lot of money to be made.
The gambling industry has done a remarkable job in marketing to young individuals.
Gambling advertising and marketing is very pervasive. In Ontario, as an example, about $600 million is spent on this by the Ontario government.
This marketing and advertising has been with us our entire lives, even before most of us knew what making a bet or a casino even was.
Any media facet you look at today, there'll be a commercial or an advertisement for gambling. Generally, they're usually geared to youth as well, so they're finding that it's the new cool thing to do. It used to be drinking, now it's gambling.
Every time we go into the classroom, every kid knows some type of advertisement around gambling. They all know the happy dance, or they all know the scratch bingo ones, or they have concrete examples of the fact that they've been exposed to advertising related to gambling.
The marketing's the biggest thing because kids are so impressionable. Like, what youth doesn't want to win money? The fact that they have poker on sports channels and claim it's a sport is ridiculous. And they see guys winning $500,000, and youth are like, you know what? Like, I want to go to win $500,000. This is what I'm going to do.
Kids will tell you in a focus group that advertising doesn't affect them at all. It doesn't affect their purchase or their activities. But obviously it does. The first time I became aware of that was in a focus group that we held for an anti-smoking campaign. And we were talking to kids, teenagers, and they all said advertising didn't affect them at all, except two of them in the room were wearing T-shirts with Joe Camel, and one had a hat on with another logo. So advertising obviously did affect them. In fact, they were actually advertising the products themselves.
Nobody would really be right in saying that media clearly has a direct link and therefore causes kids to behave a certain way. The reality is there has to be some benefit to it. I mean, it's simple dollars and cents, right? Media spends a lot of money targeting teenagers, and either it's a huge waste of money, which doesn't make any sense, or it does have an impact.